All right, Aquarius. I also just got another error that the tweet didn't go through, but everything else seems to be working. Let's try this again. I just did a whole 40 plus minute one of these and the volume wasn't working. There was no sound. So that's fun. That fits into what this month is probably going to be like you for before you, Aquarius. Now, I want to be clear that in a reading like this, there's some gnarly energy. There's a lot of planetary movement going on in your sign. Of all the signs in July, this was probably, I don't want to say the roughest, but you got some energy going on. And so a lot of this is going to be how to navigate that, how to kind of mitigate that, and how to deal with it. This does not mean your whole month is going to be a pile of shit. I also want to be clear about that. It's actually quite possible you get through this month and by the end of it are really feeling amazing. But if there is energy that feels kind of dissonant or distorted or a little bit off, at least you can have some reasons to kind of blame that on. You can just blame the planets, right? That's what we do with that. It's like Mercury retrograde. Shit fucks up, it's Mercury retrograde. Speaking of retrograde, we have two planets, one planet and one star going into retrograde, and that is Venus is the planet and Chiron is the celestial body. And we'll get into what those mean. Just before, this is the first and last time I will do it. It's officially the last time because this is the last reading of July. Starting in August, where I'm not going to go over this stuff at the beginning. I just want to give a little bit of a preamble before we jump into all of the astrology and the tarot and the other oracle cards. So astrology and tarot are what I consider the divine arts, and these are aspects and tools that we use to gain some insight and clarity and potentially advice about how to handle the trials and tribulations and all the good stuff in life as well. It is not meant to be a predictive thing in the sense that like you are destined to experience this energy. If I say it's going to be gnarly, it doesn't mean for sure it's going to be gnarly. It doesn't mean that this is the end of the world and watch out, it's going to be a shit show. It's just trying to give you some perspective that hopefully you can use in a practical way to really allow yourself to kind of navigate the things that are coming towards you or coming for you or just that you're experiencing. My personal belief is that these are like energetic weather reports. So if you look on your app at the weather and it says it's going to be raining on Tuesday, there's not 100% chance that it's going to be raining on Tuesday, but it's also probably not a bad idea if you were planning for a trip to bring an umbrella or bring some rain gear. It's just that type of stuff. So some of this may resonate tremendously and some of it may not resonate at all. So I just want to be clear that like this is not meant to doom you or curse you or be some horrible thing. I'm a firm believer that what we believe, feel, and think shapes our reality, that what we see on the screen of reality is preceded by what our emotional, mental, and spiritual states and beliefs are comprised of. So, this isn't it. This isn't the only thing. I think it's very careful to make that distinction when we're talking about things like astrology and tarot and oracle cards and all this stuff, that like it's just a tool. Hopefully this tool gets you in touch with subconscious and unconscious information and energy that you maybe don't have regular insights to. I'm a big fan of readings, both giving them and receiving them. I receive at least a half dozen readings a year. I find them to be extremely beneficial. So that's why I do them. I also just have realized, the reason I'm doing 12 of these a month now is because it feels right. It feels like something I should be doing. The feedback is generally positive, and I know that it helps some people. So that's why I'm doing them. I will also say that if you want personal readings, I do them on Instagram every so often, at least once a week, usually just once a week. You can check out there. All the details are there when I post them. But if you really want a personal reading, you can send me an email at noah@syncpodcast.com. That's SYNC podcast.com. And we can potentially set something up, time permitting. I have closed all my readings on my booking calendar just because I don't really have the time to accommodate a lot of readings, but these should be enough. And if you really want access to these going forward from July, the place to do that is the Patreon. That's patreon.com/synchronicity. And you will have access to all of those, in addition to a lot of other fun stuff like music, another type of weekly live stream where we have fun with. There's a lot of cool stuff over there. So check it out if you're so inclined. And finally, if you don't know, I have a podcast called Synchronicity with 8-9 years worth of stuff. You can go check that out. It's all free. Okay, let's get to your astrological and energetic forecast for July, Aquarius. A reminder, this is for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. If you have Aquarius placements or Venus in Aquarius, this is probably going to be more about love and relationships and things like that. The other signs, it's kind of a general reading. You kind of hopefully know what those placements indicate. But let's get into it. So this month, if I were going to give a keyword for this month for you, Aquarius, I know it's not the best thing to hear, but dissonance. Dissonance is kind of the theme and the keyword. There will be some friction. There will be some turbulence. There will be some things that maybe feel like insurmountable obstacles. And a couple of those things that Uranus and Jupiter are in Taurus, which kind of juxtaposes your sign. And it really may feel like things are really pushing down to you and that change is happening, and maybe that change doesn't feel particularly good, right? So I just want you to be aware that that's some energy that will be persistent for most of the month, and there's some other things we'll get into that may add to the complexity and depth of feeling that just feels a little bit weird. That's all. Leo is also going to be testing your resolve, right? Mars is there. It eventually moves into Virgo, but there is some kind of pressure there from Mars as well, the planet of confrontation, anger, rage. So there's just some stuff bubbling up this month for you, Aquarius, and it behooves you to deal with it and face it head on, but try not to get overwhelmed. Try not to get buy into the hopelessness or despair if those feelings pop up. It will be temporary. August is a much brighter month for you. It's just, there's a lot of stuff going on, right? You're really going to want to call on your inner strength and your inherent determination and persistence to kind of navigate this month and move through it gracefully. Okay. One step at a time is kind of the motto for this month. If you're looking at things, don't try to put too much on your plate and deal with everything at once. You will likely feel overwhelmed. A measured approach is likely to be a positive in your life in July. Reassurance and support from friends and loved ones is also something you should be willing to accept. You may be a loner, you may be an introvert, you may be accustomed to doing things on your own. Please do not be afraid to get help from friends, family, loved ones. They're there for your benefit. It's really going to be something that helps you out. So, if you have that support system in your life, please don't hesitate to rely on it. You will get a momentary pause in some of the pressure when Mars leaves Leo. I believe, don't quote me on this, that's about July 13th. It'll move into Virgo, and that's going to relieve some of this pressure, some of the confrontational anger issues, warlike issues, especially in relationships. You will get a momentary pause. It's just momentary. It's not going to last, unfortunately, for that long, but it should relieve some of the tension that is going on. A good idea this month is also to focus on your friendships, as I mentioned, your social networks, and maybe something that broadly is just based on helping the world at large. So if you're into community service or you're into something that just helps people and you have that, please dig into that. Go ahead and pursue that full throttle. If you don't have that, don't worry. You don't have to go and start something and start volunteering and all of that. Only if it speaks to you, only if it's something actually already a part of your life. But yeah, community endeavors here would definitely be a pro and kind of a way to loosen some of this energy, give you a perspective that may be helpful for you. Okay. Thinking outside the box also is going to be something that's really a key asset and skill that you can harness this month. So something a little unconventional, maybe something you haven't thought about before, maybe something that cuts against the grain a little bit. Whatever that is, that's also going to be something like your open-mindedness here is going to carry you quite far. So please don't be afraid of thinking outside the box a little bit. And also don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to be unique and yourself, no matter what that looks like. You can be weird. You can be a weirdo this month. That's totally fine. Don't fight it. We all have our inner weirdo. It's totally cool. We enjoy it. With that said, let's pull some cards. We've done a lot of shuffling. I'm interested to see what cards come out relative to the ones that were pulled before. We got this one before. Page of Swords. Ace of Swords. Oh my God. This is the exact same card that came up in that position when I did the reading earlier. So clearly there's something going on there. So Page of Swords, Ace of Swords, all swords. This is mental energy. By the way, Aquarius, you are an air sign. Swords represent air in the tarot. So we are very much aligned with you here, Aquarius. This is definitely something that's going to be important for you. So Page of Swords and Ace of Swords, these represent new beginnings. I want to point out on the Page of Swords here, you see the clouds kind of blowing, and you see that tree in the background blowing. That is pointing to change, right? Change is being ushered in. There is a new path you are being put on, willingly or not, that in the realm of your intellectual and mental capacity, there's something that's going to pop up that's really going to kind of usher you into a new realm of thoughts, right? Your thoughts, your mental activity. Something is going to capture your mental and intellect. You're going to be like really drawn to something this month. This could be a person. This could absolutely be a person. It's just going to be something that like captures you intellectually, something you're very much engaged with, and it's going to be something new. It's going to be a new path. So this is going to be something that you haven't been working on. It's not a project you already have underway. It's not a relationship you're already familiar with. If it is in the context of your relationship, Venus placements, and just general Aquarius stuff, it's going to be a new aspect of that. It's going to be a dimension of that relationship that you haven't noticed or acknowledged or just hasn't been present before. And we like that. We want new energy to come in. A lot of this has to do with kind of helping you see different perspectives and get the kind of perspectives that are going to help you deal with kind of emotional turmoil this month. So anything that captures your intellect, your mental capacity for understanding things, please pay attention to that this month because it's going to be something that really helps you. Now, King of Swords here is kind of pointing to that, like, while there may be something new and while there may be something that you're quite interested in, you're not going to have the exact clarity when it comes to decision making that you're comfortable and would like to have. So just be cautious when you're making decisions in July that you're not rushing ahead, that you're not making decisions unless you really feel confident on a deep level. It's worth checking in with your emotions. I'll point out that the King of Swords is wearing a blue cloak, right? Blue represents intuition and emotion in color alchemy related to tarot. So it's totally fine to parse through any decisions for your emotions. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Knight of Cups again either for you. But, you know, there is going to be a little bit of cloudiness, murkiness when it comes to making decisions this month. And that's some of the kind of energy that may make you feel a little bit off. We like to be clear about things. We like to have a clear sense of when we're doing things, that it's the right thing, that it's leading towards something that will benefit us. But if you don't have that and can't really summon up that ability or skill this month, just like let it be. You know, take a step back, don't get freaking out. But this is really based on like a big transformational act that is taking place this month for you. So this is continuing the theme of 2023. Saturn has also been in Aquarius for quite some time. It's continuing a theme of like personal growth and transformation. And Aquarius, you've probably been feeling this quite hard because Saturn has been hanging out, and Saturn is the plan of discipline, accountability, long, big lessons that you're going to be learning throughout your life. And these transformations are really designed to help you grow, to put you on the right path, to get you on the right track. But sometimes that doesn't feel very comfortable, especially if you're clinging to something that maybe is no longer serving you. And one of the reasons you may be clinging to something is you're familiar with it. right? You're familiar with this. Even if it's not something that's particularly comfortable, you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to expect. In the context of a relationship, it's like tried and true. But what you really probably need right now is something new. You need fresh energy to help invigorate you both on an intellectual and emotional level. So even if it feels a little daunting or it feels a little scary or you're not really sure exactly what's going on, just welcome new energy. It will help you kind of carry you through this month of which may be a little bit dissonant. It might not be the smoothest ride, that you've had this year, but trust that this is really setting you up for not only the rest of the year, but absolutely 2024, where if we were looking at 2023, it's kind of like this, up and down, up and down. 2024 is going to be more kind of up, 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 up and away. Right. So just kind of brace yourself for that in a positive sense, and don't push away new energy. That is something that is there for your benefit. It is not going to fuck you up. It's not going to be something that kind of gets in your way. Oh my God. So many of the same cards, Aquarius. It's freaking me out. Okay. 3 of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, or King of Pentacles. We love it. And there's the Knight of Pentacles. Wow, we got some little psychic intuition going on here. So 2 Pentacles and the 3 of Wands. So 3 of Pentacles is the, or 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Wands is the card of really envisioning a blank landscape and seeing what you would like to see in that landscape, right? Think of building a structure in your mind's eye of what you would like to see over this barren land. You can put whatever you want there. It can be anything. It can be a new house. It can be a new relationship. It can be a new job. But this harkens back to the last 3 set combo we had where there's something new coming. But you're going to need to be an active participant in that. You're going to have to really focus in on what it is that you like. And even if the clarity isn't there with all of the specifics and the vivid detail of what that's going to be, just take the time to go within and like, what are you lacking right now? Don't want to say lacking in the sense that you don't have it, but what would you like to experience? What would you like to have right now? Like within like your deepest part of your soul, like what really is speaking to you? What really is calling out to you that you can feel and hear that you would like to experience in this life? And that's what the 3 of Wands is encouraging you to do. Also the wands representing fire, representing passion. We also have the red cloak there. This is like going to be something that really stokes your fire, something that really like gets you going, that you're interested in. If this is a relationship, it's going to need to have passion in it. It's going to need to have like a clear something that gets your juices going, right? It's not going to be like, I think this is okay. It's kind of all right. I guess it could be good. No, it's going to be like, holy shit, this is exciting. I love this. I'm super interested in it. I can't wait to get going. That's kind of the energy you're looking for there with the 3 of Wands. Knight of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles. This bodes well for actually your financial and career aspects in the month of July. It's one of the, one of the few positives, but it is a positive that may be sorely lacking in July. So King of Pentacles is like being comfortable with abundance, coming to you, relaxing into that, letting things flow to you, not having to work super hard to make things click, but also being in charge of it too. Like you're in charge of how this money or material goods or luxury is flowing your way. Just like get into the mindset where you deserve things, where you're absolutely someone who is capable of having things in your life that you want. If you're one of those people who feels that like money is the root of all evil or it's no good, just like get out of that mindset. It's not worth holding on to. Ultimately, money is just energy, and you should be very comfortable with harnessing and utilizing that energy. How many times am I going to say the word harnessing? I don't know. Speaking of harnesses, we see the Knight of Pentacles. Now, this is a card of detail, right? Think Virgo, actually, like really attention to detail, crossing your T's and dotting your I's. Like what can you do to really go through all of the minutia that may be going on before you embark on something, a relationship or a project, like really being clear of what all the little stuff is. When you pay attention to the details in July, that is going to really bring a lot of positive energy into your life. If you're just doing broad strokes, strokes, if you're just kind of glossing over things or thinking in a grand way about everything and not focusing in on the details, it's probably not going to serve you. It's probably you're going to miss some things. It's not going to be pleasant when you miss those things. So just like as an antidote and a way to mitigate some of the energy that's coming in, particularly in the realm of finances, please pay attention to the little stuff. Don't overlook things. Don't be so risky and reckless that you're just not like giving everything the attention it deserves. The more attention you can put on the little things this month, the better the rewards will be when those things fully come to fruition. When it's harvest time, you're going to get really big, juicy vegetables. They're going to be amazing. They're going to be crisp. They're going to be delicious. That's what you're looking for. You don't want like piddling little things that's like, oh, it's okay. No. So pay attention to those details. It's going to serve you immensely if you can do that, right? And that goes for every aspect. It also goes for friendships too. Like if a friend is kind of like, I'm not really sure how they're acting here, just like look into what their actions are comprised of and what that really means for you. Yes, so please pay attention to the details there. You will not be disappointed. Let's pull 3 more. Rider Waite. Oh, Knight. Knight, what does the matter with me? 9 of Cups. Pardon me, this is the 12th reading, really the 13th that I've done this week. It's been a lot. Chariot reversed. Strength reversed, yeah, okay. So contentment is there, right? And it's yours for the taking. And this just goes to show you that the whole month isn't going to be filled with like shit hitting the fan. You will be able to have a momentary pause. This feels like kind of around, what is it, July 13th. There's going to be a shift there. Please allow and appreciate that moment, that quiet moment of respite, that just like, relax into it. Feel good. You're going to need it. Any moment you get of relaxation, of contentment, savor it, enjoy it, because you might not be getting a ton of them in July. You may, but when it happens, just like really sit into it. Just allow yourself to experience. It's going to be positive. Now, the reason why I say that is there may be some imbalance of you getting to certain places, and that imbalance may lead to a feeling of kind of hopelessness or despair. And just, you probably have a situation that has been evolving and it will culminate in the month of July that may make you feel kind of like depressed or hopeless, or like you don't really have an aim or direction in your life. You're probably trying to figure out what the next step is, what the next chapter in your life is. Just allow yourself to sit in the mystery of that. Don't feel as you need to know. You need to know right now. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. That is the wrong approach to be taking in the month of July for you, Aquarius. It's okay to get a little lost sometimes. It's okay to take detours sometimes. It's also okay to not always feel 100%, but just don't perpetuate that situation by buying into negative self-talk, or maybe if someone says something to you that offends you, like you can be aware of it, you can feel it, you can process it, but it's not something you have to dwell in. It's not something where you have to live in that headspace of you don't know what the fuck is going on. You're never going to figure it out. Why is this happening to me? I got nothing. I got no juice left in the tank, right? That's not true. It's just a reminder, all of this energy is designed to put you on track. It is not designed to knock you off course. It's quite the opposite. It may feel at times like you're being knocked off course, but it's really not about that. It's really about getting you more aligned with who you truly are so you can start doing all of these amazing things that you want to do in your life. Like Aquarius, you dream big. You think in broad strokes. That's why when we go back to the Knight of Pentacles in the previous set here, that is probably not like, has not been your strength in life, like paying attention to the small stuff and really getting into the weeds and figuring it all out, right? And that's cool. That's fine. I love big thinkers. I love dreaming big. I love looking in broad strokes. It's one of my favorite things. But, sometimes when we think like that, it can really like get us lost in the sauce in terms of like what else we have going on in our life. And so just don't maximize things that are going on that are negative or darker, because if you do that, all you're going to be doing is perpetuating and potentially amplifying the situation. And you don't need to do that. There's no reason for it. It's not going to serve you. Sometimes it's very useful to go and do like heavy shadow work. I forget, I think it was Virgo, but there was a sign that like shadow work, it might have been Scorpio. There's like some serious shadow work that needs to go on in July. That's not really your vibe in July. Yes, you may be dealing with some shadow themes, but it's not like you have to put in and dig deep to go into all that shadow stuff. It's more about like playing defense. That's kind of what you're doing in the month of July, Aquarius. You're playing defense. You're not going to like throw the ball down the field and score all these touchdowns. I'm sorry I'm using a football analogy, but you're going to be playing defense. You're going to make sure you're stopping the run. Make sure you're playing tight man-on-man coverage. You're going to pick the ball off. Like, you really just want to be guarding kind of what you have in your emotional mind state as much as possible. It's not like something is going to be taken away from you or you're going to fail if you don't play adequate defense. I just want you to be like, comfortable with being like, yeah, here comes another one. It's okay. Here comes another one. It's okay. Here comes another one. It's okay. That's going to be able to give you like the confidence and belief that you're going to get through this month, relatively intact. It's not going to like blow out your entire life. Okay. Animal Oracle. There we go. Squirrel spirit. Believe in yourself. And that's really what it's about this month. Like, don't lose hope. Persistence, getting things done, that type of action. Let me just go up here. I wrote something else for you. Your inner strength and determination. We saw the strength card reverse there, but like a really good antidote for that is just like truly getting in touch with yourself, going into your heart space and just being like, I got this. Like, I got this. I'm an Aquarius. I can think big. I've got those angel thoughts. I've got those beautiful kind of dreamy, amazing things that change the world. Like, don't forget that. Don't lose touch with that. Maybe life has kind of put a damper on some of your bigger dreams in your life. I just want to remind you that everything you believe and truly believe and don't let go of and you don't give up on is destined to happen. It absolutely will happen. Now, if you're clinging to it and you're doubting it and you're digging up the seeds you planted constantly, it's going to take longer. But unless you give up on something, that energy naturally needs to express itself, right? So the more you can impress that into your mind state and your being, the quicker and more powerful the expression of that will be when it happens. But that requires a strong conviction and confidence and belief in yourself. So we look to the squirrel, who apparently squirrels believe in themselves quite a bit. They kind of do. If you look at a squirrel, like, they're bold, right? Bat spirit or rebirth is assured. And I want to say like that rebirth is probably going to be towards the end of the month after Chiron goes retrograde and you're dealing with kind of traumatic wounds, I think childhood trauma type stuff. That's when you're going to feel the release. That's when you're going to feel the relaxation and the ability to kind of like, okay, I can calm down. I got through this month. It was kind of heavy. There was a lot of stuff going on, but nevertheless, I'm still here and I'm kind of ready to shift into my new identity. That's where that's pointing to. That's where you can trust this process. Let me move this thing so you can see the bat there. That's where you're going to be able to like fully start believing, or if you've already started, really like grok and lock in your belief that you're doing good. The course correction is underway. You're on the right track. It's going to happen. You don't have to doubt that anymore. But that may take a little bit of effort to get to. Oh, this one also I believe came for Aquarius. Rhino spirit. Overcome any obstacle. And yes, there may be some obstacles. There may be some threshold guardians for you, Aquarius, in this month. And again, they're not there to turn you back, right? They're not there to say, oh, here's an obstacle. Let me turn back now. I guess it's not for me. No, you move to it. You move through it. If this is fear-based, you know what the right reaction to fear is. You press through it. Fear is often a signal that there's something really amazing just on the other side of that fear. But if you're constantly turning back from it, you're not going to get that juice. You're not going to get that treasure. You're not going to get that reward. You're not completing that monomyth of going down into the underworld, discovering that amazing treasure, and then bringing it back to your life and your community, right? And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to up-level yourself on this spiral of awareness, which I've mentioned a few times during these readings. The spiral means like you're going around and round. You are moving up. It's not just a flat circle like fucking... what's the show? True Detective. It's not time is not a flat circle type thing. It's a circle that moves upwards. But what that also indicates is that these themes, these issues, these obstacles may keep reoccurring. But the difference is as you up level and move up through them, you're going to have added perspective. You're going to start getting a bird's eye view of these issues. So it's a little bit easier for you to process and understand rather than just being vexed and like, oh, what the fuck is going on? I don't understand it. You're going to keep building and building until you understand and get a better viewpoint of what actually is going on. Why are these issues continuing to pop up? Why are these patterns that I'm running seemingly unconsciously continuing to proliferate? And you will get answers to that, but you have to allow yourself to experience those things to get the answers. If you've ever overcome like a challenging situation in your life that really lasted a long time, afterwards it can become painfully obvious. You're like, oh my God, how did I not realize that before? How have I not kind of seen that this was something that was going on? It was so obvious looking back. But that's why we put ourselves through these things. That's why we teach ourselves these lessons. And I want to be clear, like why I'm using why we do it. No one else is doing this to us. There's no universe out there. There's no God out there. There's no people out there. There's no elites out there that are fucking your life up. All they can do is pitch you narratives and ideas and themes and experiences that color your impression and your belief. But what you consent to is ultimately what shapes your reality. So as long as you're not consenting to things that you really want no part of, you're going to be A-okay. I'm not denying the fact that sometimes these narratives and impressions and experiences can absolutely make us feel a certain way, or we can react a certain way to that because it's just, it doesn't feel good or it's convincing. But ultimately, it's what you believe. It's what you're consenting to. There's no other person. We want to be very careful, especially you, Aquarius, because you do have this ability to think so broad and really like believe these grandiose ideas in a good way often. But if you start buying into some weird shit, your life can get pretty weird. Be aware also this month of like conspiratorial thinking, paranoia. You don't have time for that shit. You just don't have time for it. Don't invest too much in that. Yes, there's weird shit going on. Yes, there's all these fucking crazy, pedophile rings and Jeffrey Epstein and fucking vaccines and all these things. Yeah, I mean, like there's shit. It's going on, but like you don't need that shit in your life in July. You got enough going on. You don't need to add to the bucket of these general big world issues that basically, let's be honest, you're probably not going to solve them, at least in the month of July. So don't like spend too much energy paying attention to that. It's just not, it's not for you this month, right? Deal with your shit. Deal with your own stuff. You don't have to take on bigger problems that are outside the immediate scope of your life. That's not going to help you. Oh, we had that one before. We're going to do In Nature's Whispers. Oh, yeah. Adventure. This is going to be an adventurous month one way or the other. You may not actually go anywhere, but it's going to be an adventure. It's going to be a roller coaster for you for sure. And embrace that. Like sometimes we have to embrace chaos, right? We have to embrace the absurdity of things just kind of going haywire. And, Venus is going retrograde. You may experience some kind of wonkiness in your relationship and love life, but if you can find the fun and the adventure in that process, it's not going to be painful. It's not going to be something that's like, oh God, why am I having to deal with this? So the more you can make this kind of a game and fun for yourself in July, I think you have a really good chance of not feeling the heaviness that may be lurking around the corner for you. I when I first did this reading, it was like kind of like, whoa, like this is really intense. And now doing it again, which I'm glad I got to do it again, I'm beginning to see that like you have enough tools, you have enough skills, you have enough kind of ability to mitigate a lot of this gnarly energy that's coming your way. Just use your ability to think big. Use your ability to go up into the sky and dream world. It's a really good month also for you, Aquarius, to like keep a dream journal. Like really get in touch with what your unconscious and subconscious are doing. And our dreams are an excellent gateway to achieving that. So just like be willing to look at some modality that gets you in touch with like what lies beneath. right? There's so much, we can just really perceive the tip of the iceberg consciously. There's a huge thing underneath the surface, and that's what we're really using this stuff to get insight into. And I just personally believe you have such a powerful foundation in your subconscious. This archetypal energy is really there to kind of like help you out. But make it fun, make it a game, make it like a quest, right? And I think that should alleviate quite a bit of the issues you may encounter, some of the obstacles or dissonance that you may be experiencing. Okay, let's do some threads of fate. I love these cards. The Magi. Yeah, you got some magic coming for you. You got some ability. You got some spells you're going to be casting this month, huh? Speak truth. I mean, this is always good advice, but especially this month. Don't hold back. Don't hold back. Be honest with yourself first and foremost, but don't hold back. Like, this isn't the month to hold your tongue. This is the month to be very clear and direct with loved ones about what your boundaries are, about what you need, about potentially what you're not getting. Obviously, approach this in a loving way. Don't just like verbal and energetic diarrhea over people, but like really like don't hold back. Be able to speak your mind, especially when it comes to the realm of boundaries. Like, make sure you're communicating clearly what your boundaries are. Because if you don't, you may kind of get into a situation where those boundaries are being crossed and it's uncomfortable and you don't like that. So just, make sure you're communicating that, as clearly as possible. Okay, withdraw. And yeah, this is what I was talking about before. If those boundaries are crossed, if someone is infringing on your space, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, you have to have the wherewithal to pull back, right? And we see what's going on in this card. It's the fox, and he's resting. It's not like withdraw, like let me just retreat and never see you again. It's just like take the time for yourself to rest. I mentioned this in the Pisces reading, but as we move into Leo season on the 22nd, 23rd of July, lions, obviously very powerful, very like dominant species, really an amazing thing, but they're also cats, right? And what do cats do for the majority of the day? They sleep, right? They sleep. And I just want to remind you that one of the key parts of taking care of yourself and being healthy and really being able to like sit into energy that it's going to strengthen you and heighten your vitality is sleep. So make sure you're getting enough rest in July. It's one of the best things you can do. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Remember, Aquarius, although you're an air sign, you are also the water bearer. You have two elements in your sign, and that water is critically important to you. And this gets into the Magi stuff as well. Like water, that kind of liquid gold, that ability to kind of like harness the mystical qualities of the world, of your psyche, of your imagination. It's quite literally fed by water. Think like fifth dimensional stuff. It's this fluidity to take on different shapes, take on different kind of contours to create literally what you see in front of your face, what you perceive with your five senses. So please stay hydrated and please make sure you're getting enough sleep. How many times am I going to hit this thing with my hat? I don't know. Enough? A lot? So yeah, I mean, like, again, like boundaries, speaking your truth, and really just harnessing this innate powerful ability you have to like really create some magic in your life. And you do. I'm sure you're familiar with that. I don't know any Aquariuses who don't have some inherent or innate magical quality about them. It's just like, it's part of your makeup. It's part of your design. Aquarius is a very cool sign. It's just, there also can be a temptation to get discouraged at times. And this month, maybe pressing down just a little bit on those buttons that say, it's hard, it's hopeless. But just, you don't have to listen to that. It's not the end of the world. Let's pull another Nature's Whispers for you to get some real practical advice. Be your best self always. And this is what we're talking about. When we talk about your best self, like that's your higher self. You have a vision of who your best self is, acting with integrity, acting in a way that is light and able to create situations that are harmonious, not just for you, but the people around you. And when you can tap into that and really access who that is, who that person is, the best thing you can do is realize that is you. But in order for you to actually step into that version of yourself, you also have to be willing to let go of who you may be right now, right? And that is a death process. That is a transformation process. I want to tie this back in. Another time I hit that. I want to tie this back in into what this year is primarily about. And it is a course corrective years. We had a couple, 2.5 years of being isolated, of being forced into situations that many of us weren't comfortable in. And just recalibrating has been a big theme of since that ended, right? The end of 2022 going into 2023. But that's shifting now. And now it's more like rediscovering who we are, accessing that version of ourselves and allowing that version to prosper and thrive. And so a lot of what we experience as discomfort or dissonance isn't actually just like some bullshit being thrown our way. It's not negative karma that's coming to fruition. It's just trying in varying degrees of gentleness and like aggressiveness to get you to realize like, yo, get on track. Get on track for what it is you're supposed to be doing. Get on track for the things that are really important to you. Don't push those off to the side, because if you push them off to the side, the snapback effect is going to be like right there reminding you, sometimes in not so pleasant ways, that, you know, this isn't fun. This isn't great. This is not the path you're supposed to be on. And you need to kind of give yourself a kick in the ass to remember that, hey, this ain't it. This ain't it, friend. Don't do that. Let's do one more Rider Waite just for fun. Wheel of Fortune reverse. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. We should have just left it there. You know, if things are going a little askew in your life, just remember, right? The underworld needs its time too. That's Anubis right there on the top of that wheel when it's reversed. And that's Lord of the Underworld. So there will be some themes coming up that maybe point to your kind of... I don't want to say lack of fortune, like luck, but if you're not feeling particularly lucky this month, just know it's a wheel. It turns, it spins, it goes in a direction. It's not stagnant. It doesn't stay there. You absolutely will get that to turn in your favor soon enough. It's like defense, right? If we're recapping this reading, defense, perseverance, and strength. Really cultivate and believe in your ability to create, Aquarius. You will be A-okay. I have a feeling I'm kind of trying to overcompensate here in terms of like telling you how gnarly this energy is going to be, so you may be pleasantly surprised that it doesn't turn out exactly like this. But I'm also not going to lie to you and say, hey, yeah, it's all sunshine and roses. It's going to be so fun. You're going to have such a great time. That's not serving anyone. So when the cards come out like this and the astrological movements are like this, we pay attention, we listen, and we realize that, like, listen, we don't have to do too much. Let's give it the gnarliness scale. I like to do this from a 1 out of 10. This is an 8. There's an 8 on the gnarliness scale for you in July 2023. Aquarius, August is very different. It is substantially different energy. So stay tuned for that one at the end of July, and you will get kind of a totally drastic shift in energy. But to hang in there, you're going to be okay. It's going to be a month. It happens. I love you, Aquarius. I'll see you soon.